Welcome back to an instant reaction edition of the Night Report podcast. I'm your co-host, Mike Broadbent. Joining me once again is our host, Richie Schneiderite. Richie, we got another commitment from the class of 2023 recruiting class for football, Nick Oliveira, out of Clearview Regional High School in South Jersey. We're going to dive into him and talk a little bit about the transfer portal, what's happened in the last 24 hours. But first, this podcast is brought to you by BetOnline. Basketball is back, and BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. As your continued source for all your sports wagering info, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and giveaways all season long. It's always the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports and events, whether that's NFL, NBA, NHL, MMA, tennis, or even golf. You can head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, so another commitment out of the class of 2023. This is an offer that came, I think, about a week ago. He was still committed to Cincinnati at the time. He recently decommitted and then committed to Rutgers this morning. Tell us a little bit about what we're getting in Nick Oliveira.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned it. He's been committed to Cincy since June. Luke Fickle type of kid committed there. Luke Fickle obviously left for Wisconsin. He's going to do a whole new commitment list out there. They're going to have a whole new commitment list, mostly at Cincinnati as well. But that just happens with coaching changes. But no, this is a pretty good get for Rutgers. South Jersey kid, solid frame at 6'5", legit 6'5", 285. That's actually what we measured him at the Rivals camp back in, when was it? March, April, May, one of those months. But yeah, he looked pretty good back then. He looked pretty good on his senior tape. He looked pretty good overall. Like he really good handwork. And that's big when it comes to offensive linemen. It's a very underrated trait that a lot of people don't talk about enough, in my opinion. Pretty solid bend. Dominated the trenches against, I know obviously Clearview doesn't play the toughest competition in the world, but I mentioned it in his commitment article, 87 pancakes over and 0 sacks allowed over 2 seasons. That would be his junior and senior year, obviously. But that's an impressive feat. I mean, dominated his competition, good pad level, can work a little bit on his pass blocking, but he does give the running backs enough room when he is blocking to kind of break. He breaks off those defensive linemen occasionally and gives those running backs a little bit more space and a little bit more I don't even know what I'm saying right now. A little bit more room to get the running backs out and about and get them in open field. But yeah, no, I like this get a lot. And you beat out a couple big name programs as well. I know for a fact, obviously he tweeted it out, but Pittsburgh, Syracuse, West Virginia, Maryland all re-offered as soon as Fickle left. Rutgers actually never re-offered. They just offered straight up because they didn't offer in the first place. And then Penn State gave him a call. Nebraska had an in-home with him yesterday with EJ Barthel, who's going to be a pain in the neck in the near future. But yeah, I mean, this is a good get. You beat out a couple Power 5 programs, and Augie Hoffman quietly pulling his weight between Jasir Peterson, John Stone, and now Nick Oliveira. I knew I was going to fuck it up. Oliveira. I knew I was going to mess it up. But yeah, no, I mean, like I said, Augie's kind of quietly pulling his weight on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, this is a solid late addition, and to get that many offers, right after you decommit or right before you decommit, more were coming, I'm sure. If he would have stayed on the market for the next week or two, he would have had some bigger name offers. So I do view this as a really nice pickup this late in the class. Obviously, you mentioned it already. Clearview does not typically have a ton of high-level recruits. Mm-hmm. In fact, I looked on the Rivals database, and there isn't a single commitment from Clearview Regional High School in the database. That's not saying that they never sent any kids to the college in the Rivals era, but there's none listed in the Rivals database. So a big congrats to him on being the first Power 5 kid in a long time out of Clearview. But what does this commitment say about how they're planning to round out the scholarship of allotment this year, I'll say, because it seems like we've made quite a few offers in the high school class of 23 the last few weeks. Tell us a little bit about a few of the other kids that look like they just got offers from Rutgers.
Yeah, so it does seem, I hate to say this because a lot of people are going to be pissed about this, and I'm a little mad about it, including as well. Jeez, I can't talk today. Need another coffee. But yeah, no, it seems like the fact that they're sending out all these high school offers means they're going to kind of trend away from the portal a little bit, which is a little bit concerning, but you got to see what happens, I guess. They're still going to hit the portal. They obviously already offered an offensive lineman in Nick DeGuglio. I don't even know if I pronounced that one right, but that's the only lineman, actually the only offensive prospect they've offered so far in the portal. But yeah, they in terms of high school kids, Chimde Ono, who's a Old Dominion commit, he's actually a pretty solid kid. It seems like he great size. He's like a legit 6'6", 270. Shot put like champ or state champ or something like that. All I know is that he won shot put in his high school and he got a couple medals. So I'm assuming that means state champ when they're gold and he's like this. So, but other than him, Nadir Chichiri, who also could be an offensive lineman, but he's technically a tight end at the moment. He's kind of that Victor Konopka type build where you're not really sure what he's going to be yet. If he puts on a couple pounds, it's like, all right, yeah, no, you got to move the line. Like you can't move. Like you can't run routes. It seems like they're heavily focused on high school kids still at the moment, which I don't blame them. You have to do a little bit of both. It is tough to do both, but you got to get you have this giant assistant coaching pool now. You got to have guys doing this. You got to have guys doing that. So Vincent Jackson Carroll, defensive tackle out of Pennsylvania. I know as of right now, he's still scheduled to visit Rutgers on the 16th. But Georgia and Florida just offered. I know Georgia's D-line coach will be there. What's today? Tuesday? He'll be there tomorrow to check in on him. Let's see if that offer is legit or not. It's technically an offer per se. When I say legit, it's an offer per se, like verbally, but the D-line coach is going to go there and he's like, all right, this kid's actually like legit 6'6" or 6'5" or whatever he is, like 280, 290. So they're going to go in there and he'll talk to him. He'll talk to the coaching staff, and then they'll kind of decide from there if they want to host him for an official visit or not. I think if Georgia pushes, it's not a question. He's going to end up going to Georgia. They are the defending national champs. I think they're probably going to win it again, to be honest. So it's a hard.
They're certainly the favorite right now. Yeah.
I mean, hard to sell that program there, but I mean, yeah. So those are probably the main guys. I feel like I'm missing someone that I can't think of off the top of my head, but I think those are all the new offers.
What about the kid out of Maryland, the defensive lineman?
Defensive lineman.
You went to high school with Keontae Hamilton.
Nnamdi Udegu. I think I got that right, actually. No, it sounds like he's just been very quiet. It doesn't seem like there's anything new on him at the moment. I know Rutgers pursued him quite a bit in the past this summer. It seemed like Vanderbilt made a pretty big push, and then Rutgers backed off a little bit, and now it seems like both backed off completely. It's very, very quiet. Nothing's going on there. We'll have to wait and see until next weekend. Maybe if Jackson Carroll cancels that Rutgers visit, you re-pursue or. My English is just brutal today. They're just going to look again at Udegu and check him out and maybe pursue him again, maybe push him pretty heavily, and you probably land him. But right now, the whole setup that I'm hearing is this weekend's going to be all portal guys, no high school kids. Then the weekend after will be all the high school kids, because it makes sense, honestly. Get the high school kids on campus the weekend right before signing day. So it's the freshest thing in their head. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's 3-day visit. Then Monday, Tuesday goes by. Wednesday, it's like, oh, got to pick a school. Sign. Done.
Well, I think Monday and Tuesday, too, are like a quiet period, right?
Yeah, it's like a quiet, dead period. So, like, you can't talk to them. But, like, Sunday's the last thing in their head. And it's like, hey, we just had lunch and dinner or breakfast or whatever with Greg Schiano at his house and all that good stuff. And my parents can't stop raving about how great, like, Schiano is and this and that. And it's like, oh, maybe I should just sign with Rutgers. Like, oh, there you go. Woo. So I think we'll see a lot of commitments over the next couple of weeks.
So you're saying this weekend sounds like it's going to be a transfer portal visit weekend.
That's the plan.
Obviously, some of the offers that we made 4 offers from as of right now. Nick Carjulo is how you pronounce his last name, from Yale. He's the offensive lineman.
So close.
Braden Fisk is the defensive lineman from Western Michigan. He's an interior defender. He's got a ton of offers. I have a hard time believing he's going to end up at Rutgers. Anthony Goodlow is a defensive end from Tulsa who Rutgers has offered. Also ended up picking a ton of offers up. He went to Tulsa. He went to high school in Oklahoma. He's got an Oklahoma State offer. I'd imagine it's going to be hard to beat there. And Eric Rogers is the most recent offer yesterday. He's a corner out of Northern Illinois. He fits the size and length profile that Rutgers looks for in its corners. He's from Burlington Township High School. This is a kid who hasn't reported any other offers. It doesn't seem like he's kind of that active on Twitter in general. This is a kid who's also very close with Chris Long on the team. He's very close to the former Rutgers wide receiver Everett Wormley, who also went to Burlington Township. What are you hearing about Eric Rogers?
So, yeah, I mean, going down that list, I want to go back to it real quick. Nick, say it again. I can't say it.
Gargiulo.
The Gargiulo. I'll remember that. Gargiulo. All right, there we go. Ingrained in my head forever. He's going to be one to watch because I know Rutgers really wants him. His profile pic, I can't get over it. It's pretty wild.
I know he looks like a rookie police officer or something.
Yeah, it's an insane picture. But I keep an close eye on him. The two defensive linemen, Fisk, I don't think has any shot at Rutgers. He went to Notre Dame last week. It sounds like a couple others are pursuing. Other big name Power Fives are pursuing. Goodlow, you mentioned, he's from Oklahoma. He's got Oklahoma State. I'd actually keep an eye on Arizona State there. I know that new coach juice is always a thing, whether you believe it or not. So Dillingham down at Arizona State's going to have a little bit of juice there. But I know Rutgers is pursuing there a little bit, so we'll keep an eye on that one. But Rogers, like you said, only offer mentioned so far is Rutgers, South Jersey kid, friends with Chris Long, friends with Everett Wormley. Mind you, it didn't work out for Wormley as well. But I really think Rutgers is in good position there. It sounds like he's going to visit this weekend. I'd be a little shocked if he didn't end up with the Scarlet Knights. Now, where do you put him? I don't know. He's like 6'2", so maybe you put him. You have two big ass safeties back there with Igwinosin and him, or maybe you put him at corner where he's been. That's for the defensive staff to decide. You have enough DB coaches on staff that I'm sure they can figure it out. You have like 4 technically if you count Chiano and Harris-Simiak. But yeah, I mean, I really think Rutgers is in good with them, and that might be your first portal kid of these exciting times. We'll call it that.
Yeah, and to give you guys a little bit of background on him, he's a class of 2020 recruit. He redshirted his freshman year at Northern Illinois, and then as a redshirt freshman in 2021, he came out of training camp a starter. He started the first 5 games in 2021 for Northern Illinois. Went down with an injury. He missed the remaining 7 games of 2021. And then this year, he entered the season as a starter again. He started the whole season outside of 2 games. So he played 15 games total at Northern Illinois. This year, I believe his PFF grade was like a 66.3, which isn't great. I think he was like right in the middle of the pack, but he's still young. I mean, I do criticize the staff sometimes, but I do trust their opinion on defensive backs more than probably any other position. So if they like this guy, then I'm 100% on board. I imagine he visits soon. If I had to make a bet without knowing any information about it.
Well, like I said, it sounds like it's going to be this weekend. I haven't 100% confirmed it, but it's a rumor mill. So
I do want to talk to two New Jersey guys who entered the portal yesterday. First, Devin Leary, the quarterback out of NC State. He's a guy who went to Timber Creek. I think we touched on him yesterday briefly. Mm-hmm. Doesn't seem like he's going to end up at Rutgers. I'm going to just put that out there. But are you hearing the same thing?
It sounds like Illinois and Notre Dame are making a heavy push. I know we talked about it in the pod yesterday. It sounds like Illinois is pretty legit there. And it would just be Leary to Leary eventually. And that would be the transcendence, or that's probably a weird word for it, but you get what I'm saying. Yep. He wants to finish his career off with a program where he can get a couple wins, show off his skills again, prove he's healthy, all that good stuff. So that is the what do you call it? That's the decision right now. It sounds like for Leary. Yeah. So it doesn't seem like Rutgers is in it with this one. As of now, it doesn't seem like Rutgers is in it with any quarterbacks, which each your own with that opinion. I'm going to say it's a bad move, but that's, like I said, everyone has their opinion on that one. You could say it seems like Wimsatt's probably still the guy for next year and going forward.
Yeah. Again, we talked a lot about this yesterday, but we'll see if that strategy changes at all once an offensive coordinator gets named, if that ever happens at this point.
No, you got a couple competition now. Ohio State's open now. OC.
Yeah, a lot of schools. I mean, this is the shuffle period, so we're seeing a lot of weird stuff happen. Like the Louisville coach going to Cincinnati. That seems like a lateral move at best.
Not anymore.
Like he got paid a ton more money. That kind of reminds me of when Dana Holgerson left West Virginia for Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was like, why would he do that? That's like a step down. You reset your clock at these schools when you're able to like jump off of a ship that's barely holding water. Yeah. Like Louisville hasn't been doing that great in a long time. Like they obviously had the Lamar Jackson years, but I mean, outside of like Bobby Petrino, nobody's really been able to have success there. So it makes sense to jump off, restart your coaching clock at another school, and kind of build good grace again.
I'd be intrigued to see them going after Braum. I just don't know if they'll do it or if he would leave. Like that's another one. It's a big probably step down because the Big Ten right now. It's a top 2 conference, but it's his home. It's Louisville, alumni, blah blah blah, all that good stuff. So
I'm sure he's had other opportunities to go to Louisville and bring him down to
probably.
So unless he's just like passionate about returning his alma mater to former glories, then I that from a career decision standpoint, it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
But the other transfer portal guy from New Jersey I wanted to talk about was a guy that we also referenced yesterday, Jaden Bellamy from Notre Dame.
Yes.
This is a kid I expect Rutgers to go hard after. Are you expecting the same thing?
Yeah, it sounds like that. I don't know what the deal was with at Notre Dame, but he obviously didn't play a whole lot. It does seem like Rutgers is going to pursue heavily. Like I said yesterday, they finished second for him. It sucks because there's this one really good picture, and I was so hyped about the picture, and it's Greg trying to teach like footwork technique to both him and Igbinosun at the same exact time, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be a great photo. Bellamy at Rutgers, Igbinosun's gonna be at Rutgers, and I haven't been able to use the photo whatsoever. So maybe I can kind of crop out Igbinosun a little bit, and I could use this photo again, but not optimistic on that. But on the cropping job, more so than Bellamy coming to Rutgers. I think they have a really good shot there. Now, there's probably going to be a lot of competition for him. I know Penn State liked him out of high school. I know Pittsburgh liked him out of high school. I know Maryland obviously pursued pretty heavily, Syracuse, etc. Syracuse is basically New Jersey DBU at this point, it seems like. So, yeah, I think Rutgers has a pretty good shot there. We'll wait and see what happens, but I wouldn't be shocked if he took a visit this weekend either. Like I said, this is the portal weekend. This is I don't know when the actual portal date closes. I think it's like the first week of January or something. Mm-hmm. So you kind of got to get these visits in pretty quickly because one weekend, and a lot of these teams are going to be at bowl games. Let's not forget that. So you kind of have to work around this. Like they're going to be practicing. They're going to be away practicing at all these neutral sites. And I don't know what the ruling is per se with recruits going to watch a bowl game practice. Like if you're in Florida, obviously you'll have Florida recruits come watch on their own dime. Mm-hmm. You can't pay for anything. But if you're like, say it's a weird example, but it's the only one I really know off the top of my head. If you're Penn State, like you're in California, you're not really going to recruit California that much, but so it kind of hurts some teams. So now you got to go out to California pretty soon to go start practicing, getting used to the temperatures, all that, and practicing at whatever high school or they're at. So it's going to be tough. I mean, you got to get these kids on campus ASAP, either this weekend or next weekend. And it sounds like for Rutgers, that's going to be this upcoming weekend. So keep an eye on the boards because we'll have all kinds of confirmations of this guy visiting. Wow, look at that secret visitor that I can't see in the back of that Instagram story, but I'll find out who it is.
Yeah, I imagine that's a really fun. Feel like a bit like a sleuth trying to figure out all that information because. You're trying to confirm whether somebody made it to campus, and then you look at recruit number 2's Instagram story, and he's arm in arm with them. They're having fun at like Dave and Buster's.
Oh yeah,
it's like
you can confirm that, but then when you see like the one in the background, it's like I feel like an FBI agent. Like I crop it, I try to like clear it up, and it's like, who is that? Who is that? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Who is that? Can't tell. Damn it. Oh, it's tough. It is tough sometimes. But yeah.
I'm seeing something in the transfer portal thread. I don't know if you want to open that up right now. Somebody's reporting that somebody's projecting Bellamy to Rutgers, and
I believe that.
I won't say who it is, but
is it Kick?
No, it's not Kick. It's somebody's reporting that a site is reporting Bellamy, like a projection for Bellamy to Rutgers. It might not be Rivals. I'll just say that.
Oh yeah, and you can mention who it was. It's an Irish insider, but I don't trust. Like, I guess I don't know. I don't know how I feel about like other network sites like reporting on stuff like that, because like you look at some people's like crystal balls and future casts from like other sites, and I'm like, yeah, dude, like you just predicted him to Rutgers. I'm like, yeah, but you're like 10 of like 28. Like I don't trust you.
Yeah, the guy who projected them is actually the publisher or like the lead guy at Notre Dame.
Is that Tom Loy?
Yeah, Tom Loy.
Yeah.
I don't know his hit rate. I'm trying to find that now.
But I mean, I think it's like I said, it's a pretty safe bet considering the fact that it's Rutgers, like it's Jersey, it's home. Like they finished number 2. Like I thought that was a pretty safe assumption at that point. And like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if he visited this weekend. Now, where do you play him? I'm pretty sure he's a cornerback, if I recall correctly. He's like 5'10", 5'11", but he was rail thin, so he's got to pack on some pounds, like ASAP.
Yep.
But then again, like Longerbeam was pretty rail thin. Chris Long, still pretty thin. And those two played pretty early at cornerback. Max Melton, I think, played year 1, like immediately almost. Avery Young played immediately. I guess you could get away with being pretty thin at cornerback compared to most positions the more I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a kid that, like, I know that our site was super, super high on, like, possibly best player in the state type hype from him his senior year. I know he was a high 3-star, but he probably deserved to be rated higher. And would you agree with that? I know you guys were pushing for a 4-star status for him for a while.
Yeah, I was a little shocked he didn't get it. Trying to look back at who else was in that class. Yeah, honestly, you know who I liked the most in that class, and I think I'm tooting my own horn again. And I said it on the boards. Number 1 in that class should have been Kenny Fletcher. Can't change my mind on that one. He's been phenomenal. I would have dropped Gould under him. I thought Bellamy was better than Gould. I think Keith Miles was okay. I don't think he's anywhere near the top 5. So right then and there's 2 out of the top 5. And I'd probably put him at 3 or 4. I think it's hard to put him above Igbenogson because that's an SEC starter year 1. Like,
yeah,
pretty good. We can also kill that transfer rumor considering Lane Kiffin stayed.
Yep.
And Jacob Allen. Jacob Allen was a tough one to rate, in my opinion, because he didn't have junior tape. His senior tape was solid, but I don't know. A lot of people like had him as number 1, and I just didn't see it. I thought Kenny Fletcher was the better of the 2 prospects. But yeah, no. Jaden Bellamy was definitely should have been top 5 at least, if not top 4, if not higher. I mean, you can argue that too. So.
One interesting thing is that I'm looking at the Rivals transfer portal rankings right now, which is a new feature you guys should definitely check out. It's they're re-ranking every portal entry and then kind of have like a top 100 based on that. So it changes. It's like the stock market
daily.
It changes drastically daily.
Yep.
Like, for example, yesterday DJ Ugalele was the number 1 rated recruit in the transfer portal. And then Devin Leary enters, and now he's the number 1 rated recruit. So that kind of gives you an idea of where Devin Leary sits on the portal rankings. He is ranked the number 1 portal recruit by Rivals.com at the moment. So very highly rated. Looking down this list, there's a few other
stop
quarterbacks.
At 100. It goes all the way to 187 at the moment. It will be at 200 when it's all said and done. We're debating going to 250. So. And it's cool because you can also go to like I believe you can go to the history now. So if you go to like the top right versions, like you can go to yesterday's, and it'll show you like who finished a day as number 1. But throughout the day, it's going to be updated, obviously. There is some interesting names out there, like Brennan Armstrong, who a lot of people might recall. I think he's in the top 20. There's a ton of quarterbacks out there. Like it's insane. Nick Evers, Haynes King, Phil Jerkovich obviously is already committed now, but quarterback.
Did he officially commit? I know he was rumored to be up at Pittsburgh. Yeah. Okay.
I should have known that with Signetti there. Gould, everyone's favorite DB, is at 110. Like a lot of good names.
Could you see Rutgers taking him to lock up Jaden Bellamy?
I could. But if you don't have to, I wouldn't. Scholarships are tight. That's just the way it is. I'm not saying like obviously there's a lot of room still, and you can kind of always like make room if you need be. But if you don't have to, I wouldn't, because I just think he's such a tweener. He's injury prone. He's got 2 ACL injuries, so it's tough. So basically, me saying that on a podcast is going to guarantee he won't talk to me ever again. But and just being honest, like it's tough. Like I said it yesterday. I've had 2 ACL injuries. It's hard to recover. Like I used to be able to dunk a tennis ball. Now you know what I can do? I can like touch the net. Like that's about it. Can't get up like I used to. It's maybe it's my age, maybe it's the knees, maybe it's a combination. It's rough. Like it's a hard recovery.
Yeah.
And then the tweener status I was talking about, he played DV his entire life, and then like he's kind of a linebacker build now at this point. You pack on 10 pounds, he's 100% a linebacker. Can he?
I mean, that's
linebacker?
not necessarily a bad thing though. Like if he has the mentality to play linebacker, Rutgers needs linebackers. Like,
but if he doesn't have the size, and that's like he doesn't have the size, he doesn't have the speed. And the lack of speed with linebackers is huge nowadays. Like wait till you see Moses Walker next year, and you're like, holy shit! Like where'd that come from? And it's like,
dude,
that's
I cannot wait to see Moses Walker. And you say that as
so good.
Yeah, Moses Walker tore his ACL last year, so
one, not 2 though.
Yeah, So exciting stuff. I think if we did end up landing Jaden Bellamy, I think that would be a massive commitment.
He's not ranked yet, but he'll be in the rankings soon enough, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's a kid that, like, similar to Aaron Lewis, like, if a guy transfers after his freshman year, I feel like you can't necessarily write him off the same way you could after a guy who hasn't played, who transfers after his junior year or something like that. Like, this is just a kid, like, it wasn't working out for him for whatever reason at Notre Dame, and maybe he just wants to be closer to home. You know, there's a ton of reasons why he could have been transferring. There were 2 freshman corners playing ahead of him. I was reading that he was on the concussion protocol at some point this season for Notre Dame. So this would be a great pickup. So
yeah, remember when it was always about like, hey, like a kid transferred like colleges. Like, God, do we really want him? He's transferring colleges already after 1 year. And now it's like, oh, that kid transferred 3 times and he did this. I don't care. Come on, like, just wild.
We had such a low hit rate for a long time with all transfers. Like, I remember when we would take like a guy like Marcus Witherspoon from Michigan, who was from South Jersey. There was another kid from the Hun school. His name was Anthony.
The wrestler? Was that the wrestler?
No, the wrestler. What do you mean?
There was like a wrestler. He was like a wrestling kid, but he transferred in for football, and he was like one of the top wrestlers. I forget what his name was. Someone's going to put it in the comments later on.
Yeah.
He's a big name wrestling guy, but he transferred. He played football at like a big school and then transferred back home to Rutgers, and then it just never worked out for football.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Escaping me.
I can't remember. But whatever. Well, like I said, someone's going to say it in the comments. So there's your hint. Go in the comments, hit subscribe, comment, rate, all that good stuff, and then answer the question.
Yeah. Yeah. So stay tuned to the boards. There's going to be a lot more news coming. This is a wild time of the year. Everything's so hyper condensed. So I'm sure we'll probably have another instant reaction podcast or 2. And the guy I was thinking of was Anthony Lalota. Remember, he went to Michigan from the Hun school and No, not the wrestler, but this is a kid who.
Shit, man! It's pissed me
You're not
off.
thinking of Andrew Campilitano, are you? The linebacker.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's who it was, right? Andrew Campilitano.
So I remember he was like literally one of the best high school wrestlers in New Jersey history from Bound Brook, and Greg took him as a football recruit, and it didn't work out. And I think he ended up joining the wrestling program. Maybe that's what you're thinking of.
Maybe that's what I was thinking. No, after transferring it, no, he transferred in from Ohio State.
Oh, Campilitano did?
Yeah. So he was at Ohio State first, and then Greg took him for football. It didn't work out, and I think he went to wrestling after.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes. Or something like that. There's some. I'm reading about it now. I just saw the title, but that was the kid I was thinking of. Correct. You guys can still comment and hit all the subscribe button and all that.
Yeah, I do appreciate the people who did give us a review recently. That really does help bump us up. I'm sure anybody who listens to this pod probably listens to other Rutgers podcasts. The Scarlet Spotlight announced that they're
RIP.
After 5 years, they're going to retire the podcast. Those guys, if you want to hear their final pod, I think it comes out next week.
Did you hear what they said at the end of their pod?
Mm-mm.
They said everyone go to the Night Report podcast and listen to them. They're the new premier podcast of Rutgers Athletics.
Yeah, you know what? Now that you mentioned that, they did say that, and we really thank them for saying that. So anybody who is not subscribed already, please give us a 5-star review. Please subscribe. Please follow the YouTube channel and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We really appreciate all you guys for joining us once again. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we sign off today, Richie?
I have one thing. I have one bone to pick. Whoever you are, that son of a bitch who didn't give us a 5-star review.
Oh my God.
Made it all 4.9 now. We'll find
Yeah, I hope you stub your toe really hard on
if you get a paper
couch.
cut right in between your fingers. Right in between the fingers, a little webbing, and then you just hope you're what was the Chance the Rapper song? Hope there's snow in your driveway. Hope you get a paper cut. Hope you work at a Fridays and it's busy on Friday, always on Fridays.
Oh
Something like that.
God.
Oh,
We've gone off the rails here.
You, that guy. I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah, we really appreciate the haters for fueling us.
Yeah, and here we go. Here come all the 4.9s.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks again for tuning in. Stay tuned to the board. Stay tuned to your Twitter feed. Stay tuned to your podcast feed because I'm sure this is not going to be the last Instant Reaction podcast we put out over the next couple weeks. But for me and Richie, this has been another edition of the Night Report podcast. Signing off.